Welcome, veterans. I want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today. We got an interesting subject to talk about. But first, before we get to that, I'd like to hear in the chat area where you're from and what branch you served in and what years. And as you're doing that, I am going to introduce my partner here, Coach Dr. Mike Smith. This guy is awesome, and I want him to go ahead and tell us a little bit about himself.
Welcome. Thanks, Doc T. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon with you and this morning. Could have been really anywhere with your time. I'm Coach Mike Smith, Dr. Mike Smith here. I've been coaching for some while. I'm actually a podiatrist by profession in my previous professional life, but now I've been coaching for some years at this point. And so just here with what I could consider a friend, a mentor, and a manager of some sort with you today.
Awesome. And for you guys that don't know, I'm an old airborne paratrooper, U.S. Army. And then I also was a psychologist for 20 years. So today's show, you get something unique. You get head to toe. Get it?
Head to toe. Right.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. I haven't seen anything come through on anybody that's checked in yet. But just keep those coming in.
We got a couple.
There we go.
There we go. Got a little
Dallas.
Through by way of Tallahassee with Dave, Teresa. Some all we're working with a coach, so a couple coming in.
Oh, I like it, man. So big Papa. We got another U.S. Air Force. Nice. Oh, there we go. The Marines have showed up. And he's working with Charles. That's funny. U.S. Navy. We just got dates there, 74 to 90. Awesome, Don. U.S. Army, 1982, 1985. Hey, that's about the time I was in. No old jokes, Mike, please. Memphis, Tennessee. Oklahoma, U.S. Navy CB. Nice. U.S. Army. Awesome.
What's some of the weather like where everybody is? What's the weather doing? I know it's pretty hot certain areas and some other events too. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. See, both of us are from the East Coast, so I mean, it gets hot here, but it's kind of a cooler hot when you start going down to Florida, Texas, stuff like that. It gets a little bit. You can definitely tell it's a different feel. All right, before we get into today's subject, again, thank you for spending some time with us today. I'm going to go ahead and we have a disclaimer that we have to say just to make sure that we've got everybody on board with the way we actually work here at BACI. We are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veteran Affairs, the VA, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching and consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted, independent medical professionals in our referral network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, what we call IMOs, for a wide range of disability conditions. Cool. And now, if you're looking to, you hear some stuff today that you really like, and you're wanting to get involved here, you can actually, well, there we go. Need help with your claim? You can get started for free today. VAClaimsinsider.com/elite-membership/. Hopefully I said that right. Those are slashes, right?
You got it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. VA Claims Insider Elite process. Now, this is actually really interesting because this is something that we do here at VA Claims Insider, and it makes the whole process a little bit easier. And we've worked out situations with this, and this is how we're so successful, is because we have the mechanical part of it. All we need is you, the veteran, and different things that we need to get this going. And as we go through this, we'll talk about that a little bit. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And we've already done the disclaimer, so we can go ahead, and I jumped the gun on that. This is what we expect from you. When you become a member here at VACI, the aim is education. It's not knowledge, but action. We definitely need you to take action and also work with your coach as you're working through those. This is an elite program. It equips you and inspires you to take action. Yes, we are aimed or arm you with a personal VA disability game plan, strategies, and tactics to help you through this whole process, and hopefully get you to the point where you're getting the rating appropriately at level by law, and must take action to get results. Now, this is the cool part. When you do this, you're going to join a team. And it's going to be a team, and you're also going to have an SVC that actually helps out with that team. And then you're going to have others that are going to be able to help you out. We got a number of people. As a matter of fact, we got 2 great people running the show right now behind the scenes here with Aaron and Kelsey, and actually keeps us online too. But they're all part of the team. And this is the cool part here at VACI. When you do that, you're going to get a better coach. They will lead you and down your disability journey, and attend live classes, on-demand sessions, all kinds of different things like that. Also, when you first start, you need to be patient and realize that we've been doing this for a while. And it usually, we have a lot of veterans that we're working with, and sometimes it takes a little time to get to you. But once we get to you, that's when everything's got to be ready. And we're going to go over this as we go through these steps for the process. So also, when you're doing this, join the other groups like Mastermind here on Facebook and stuff like that to help out. So, all right, next slide.
And just a bit about what you can expect from VA Claims Insider. So just especially like Dr. John was saying, strategy, education, and accountability. Most importantly, our expert veteran coaches will lead you through the VA claims process, and we'd like to empower you to, again, take actionable steps with the right personalization associated with it to your specific claim strategy. And it often results in a VA rating you deserve in less time. Streamline it. We call it making it clean in general, but also preparing for the compensation and pension exam, prep and coaching services. It's a big part of what we do. People mention having information, documents, or Nexus, but the CMP exam, that exam, so that you'll nail your exam and win your VA claim, we want you to feel like you're never alone. And then a big part of, if you do need other things, other information, new and relevant medical evidence is also a part of what we have inroads and access to, giving you all as elite members via medical examinations, disability evaluations, and incredible independent medical opinions. We call them IMOs. You might hear that abbreviations. Nexus statements for a wide variety and range of disability conditions. If so happen to apply to you, if it's warranted and wanted by you. And so those services we provide through our referral network of independent medical providers. Just by being a VACI client, you'll have access at heavily discounted rates to that group.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. Now, this is our 8-step elite process, and we're going to explain this to you real quick here. So we welcome you to the program overview of what you're going to expect. And now we've got this brand new program. It's called Insider. So when you get that, you're going to get an email that actually explains what you need to do and how to upload documents. We got videos for that. And we got all kinds of different PDFs that are actually going to help you learn how to do this kind of stuff. So don't get overwhelmed at the beginning. We're going to get you through it. And we also have a number of assistants that can actually help us with that too, if there's ever a problem. That step usually takes about 3 to 5 days. And then we have a strategy session that you're going to book with your coach. Now, what this is going to do is where they've gone through some of your information and have a consultation with you and find out exactly where you're at in the process, what you really truly need, and go ahead and start putting that puzzle together for you. So by putting that puzzle together for you, that's where we're going to know how we're going to do this. And sometimes we can actually do this and have the very next step or the step after that already planned out as soon as we know what we're doing here. And then if needed, there's step 3. We can actually make a referral to an outside agency that does nothing but work with veterans and come up with medical evidence and stuff like that, and create situations to where it does close that triangle for you to where you can actually get it service connected, because it shows the VA, okay, this is why the veteran's going through this, and this is why we believe it should be connected. So by doing that, we can make a referral to where you go get a psychological evaluation or an independent medical opinion. Nexus statements. Nexus is what closes that triangle and tells the VA, this is why it's connected. This is why everything should be done in the manner to where this is not only connected, but here's plenty of evidence to show that. So, all right, now step 4 is what I was just talking about with the medical team, where you can do those too with the medical team. Let's say you have something that might even be service connected. You might need something to get that boosted up a little bit, or you have something that you've never ever really talked about. They're going to be able to help provide medical evidence and help build that case for you so you can actually get that connected. All right. And then step 5, we do the claim building and the submission. That's when the puzzle has come together for at least some of it, and we can actually go ahead and put that together so we can get you on your mission there. And then we help you with the submission. And what I mean help is we tell you, okay, this is what you're submitting for. This is how you should word or talk about this, but not really help you in a way to where we're not putting words in your mouth. We can't do that. This is about you, and only you can tell us how you're actually feeling and how this affects you on a daily basis. But we also help you bring that out of you. So, and then we do the CNP exam prep. That's where you're going to go talk to a professional that's in that particular area, and they're going to go ahead and help you make all the connections there so the VA can understand that that's the VA's answer to an examination. After that, then we sit back, we wait for the claim to be decided, and then we review. No matter if they say yes or no, we know where we're going after that to go ahead and keep you in the ball game. Sometimes it would be step 8 with a higher level review or supplemental claim, whatever's warranted. Now, if it's a supplemental claim, we're just adding brand new evidence that the VA has not seen, and we'll bring that in and keep you, like I said, keep you in the ball game and keep you running towards the finish line. So,
and one thing I wanted to just punch in there, I think it was very important, and we'll go over it as it continues. But something that you pointed out, Dr. John, not everybody needs every step in this piece, and so if needed was one thing that it drew out, and I think that's important because especially when you see the general information, or at least have an understanding potentially of what we can offer. Some people are starting this process a little further. Right. Step 2, if that makes sense, 3 if that makes sense as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly right. Some people might not need some of these steps, or they already have the stuff to actually put it together. They just need a little bit of coaching, and that's the important part. We can talk with you during that consultation, and we'll figure it out there as we're putting that puzzle together, or idea and pieces for the puzzle. So, all right, let's go to the next slide.
All right.
You got this.
Yeah, you got the just going into an overview, a more detailed overview of the individualized steps, and you'll kind of see it here where it talks about welcome and program overview. The step one, congratulations, kind of ready to get started. And then you'll be able to let you know that we received your elite membership agreement. We ask that you check your devices, email, mobile devices, about 15 minutes or so after signing up. For the welcome message, the welcome, you get an introduction email, as well as the elite program overview and expectations, many of which Dr. John touched on and went over already. And we talk a bit about, hey, you taking ownership of your VA claim. We always like to say, you're the most important part of the claims process, that we just kind of help you along. And so, yes, you need to do some work in our program and help us help you. All right. So we talk about don't worry, though, because we're your expert guides. And that could be, we want to have you follow the lead of your veteran coach. But that could be as simple as uploading the appropriate things so we can, again, in that strategy session, have a firm feel for which action steps, step 3, 4, or beyond, might you need in this particular case.
Awesome. That's an awesome way to explain all that. That is perfect. All right, next slide, step 2. Now, this is your strategy session. This is where we find out what you don't have, or what you do have, so we can actually get you going on your journey, on your path, like I said, to the finish line. This is actually a very important thing to where you're sitting there with a coach and you're actually going over everything that you're want to consider, what you want to go ahead and talk about. And then also the coach is actually going to help you realize that, hey, look, because you have this, you might be able to secondary this to this. So there's a number of things that happen during the strategy session, and it's very important because it actually dictates exactly sooner or later how you're going to go through this whole process. And we also have access to live group classes. There's also, by getting that advice and stuff like that, you're going to understand that, sort of like what Brian Reese, our founder, says, you deserve it. You're going to realize that, hey, wait, I really need to get into this and become a student of the process. And during the strategy session, you're going to do that. And you're going to find out, hey, yeah, I deserve it. I'm a veteran. I've done this. I signed that dotted line just like everybody else. I put myself in harm's way just like everybody else. You're a veteran and you do deserve this. So you need to go ahead and really get involved with this. And like I said, become a student of it, learn all the aspects of it. But definitely during a strategy session, you're going to be able to put that puzzle piece and start looking at it and start realizing, yeah, okay, there is a path here. And by doing that, also you're going to start building trust in yourself, and hopefully that builds trust into your coach. So, all right, so let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, it just kind of fell in my lap. That's that head to toe situation. But we a big part of what we do, just in general, is of a customer service nature. Just kind of like Dr. John said, really dialing down on the individualized approach. So in this step 3 here, it talks about an independent psychological evaluation and an IMO Nexus, independent medical opinion Nexus. And so if it is warranted, and that's, big if, not necessarily everybody, but if it is warranted, after the strategy, we'll have you sign up for that independent psychology evaluation. where you get a combined IMO, the medical opinion, and a Nexus statement from a U.S. board certified psychologist. So that independent evaluation, which you get a heavily discounted rate for, is considered one of the single most important things that you can do to get the disability rating you deserve, again, if warranted. And this is where that strategy session helps, have you realize or actualize or state flat out your signs and symptoms, right? Sometimes even for the first time of just kind of materializing that. So if you have any type of mental health condition, that this exam plus the IMO and the Nexus statement that is encompassed in the documentation, they say is like investing in a lottery ticket, where you get these symptoms documented and you could use them effectively from a disability perspective. Okay, and that's again something that comes out. They're pretty videos and things like that as well. And there was a pointer there. Even we have women coaches as well, in case somebody, if there's any selection of choice or desire in women group and things like that for other veterans too. So next slide.
All right, and this is about the medical team. This is about the other conditions or trauma that you've had to your body. Now, just to give you a little bit of a background, I also was a client. I came through the program just like what you guys are going through, and I actually had to talk to the Psych team, and then I also had to talk to the medical team. And the thing that I got from doing this is learning more about each one of those conditions, but I also got to learn more about myself on that, because it was stuff that I had hidden for years that I didn't want to talk about. I just kind of blew off and said, that old paratrooper in me just said, you're going to limp because of this. It doesn't matter. Just keep going. The cool part about that is by talking to these professionals that really, this is all they do is talk to veterans and help them out with this. By doing that, actually really built a lot of trust to where I felt really comfortable. And like I said, I was a psychologist for 20 years and had that kind of stuck in my head and never really did anything except for trying to learn about what was banging around in my head. But by talking to the psychologist, I actually got to figure out, okay, I need to drop the psychology head and go back to being a veteran. And by being a veteran, I can actually understand why. Not only do I deserve this, but why I need to go through this so I can actually move on to the next level. So also the same thing applies for step 4 here with the medical team evaluation. You're going to have a bunch of experts that are actually going to help you get through a load of stuff like you see right here: sleep apnea, migraines, headaches, GERD, IBS, radiculopathy, which is funny because I didn't even know what radiculopathy was till I got here. And it's actually where you have a little bit of nerve damage there, and that causes pain on a daily basis. So, and I was like, yeah, I know what that is now because I go through that. But at the point, I didn't know what it was called. So you're going to get educated a lot by being in this program. And that's the cool part, is as you're getting educated, you're going to feel a little bit better about learning about what's going on here. So this is definitely an important step too with the IMO and the Nexus to actually tie that back to service.
Can I is
yes.
trigger me with something that you said, and I almost have a slight flashback. You mentioning like radiculopathy and not having that on, kind of as a part of regular understanding, despite a professional background in a different area. Well, I say often that the term Nexus was like that for me. Right? So I knew the word Nexus, but I didn't understand Nexus in the way that we use it routinely in this process, right? It talks a bit about connecting the medical opinion so that this process is not just about what you have, it's about things that you could put together, and if there's proof of the same thing. And so Nexus is one of those hadn't used it, never used it in that capacity words that you use pretty much daily to see if A is connected to B in the form of that medical opinion, process, Dr. Jones. So I'd always
No, that's an expert. Yeah, well, of course you're expert. You're Dr. Mike. So, but the thing is you're right. That connects that. So the VA has to look at it because it will connect that medical opinion to service, and it kind of helps out the whole situation. So yeah, it's a perfect idea, perfect plan. So all right, next slide.
The claim building process, step 5, claim building and submission. This can be a big one in the worry or understanding of many a veteran because oftentimes the sentiment is don't want to mess it up, so to speak, right? And so it's not even to downplay it, here, but just to have an understanding of these steps go all together. So your coach, veteran coach and team, we do step by step group training sessions, helping you walking through building your own VA claim and uploading your evidence and submitting it to the VA. Just practical steps in that process. And we also have resources, educational tools and resources, videos and files to help you understand, having those to walk you through the process, again, step by step, available 24 hours, 365 days a week to utilize. And again, the slide reiterates how it may be intimidating or difficult, or there's a history there. You did it before, or somebody helped you before and it didn't go as well. That the way that you put it together and submitting through the educational component, you'll be able to kind of follow the lead and know that we got your back, we got your 6. And so even claim building and submission, you get some help. So it's not as intimidating, so to speak. Next.
All right, the C&P exam preparation and coaching. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole process because this is the part where everybody gets a little nervous. Okay, I got to go talk to another doctor. I got to do this. But the point of it is it's time for you to go ahead, like Dr. Mike said earlier, is take claim, take control of your claim that you're going to do. Because this is the point where you actually get to tell them exactly what is going on with you, exactly how it hurts, how it affects you on a daily basis, and as well as how it affects other areas in your life with your family, life with your work, life with social, or the lack of, because of this particular condition. So you're going to get a step-by-step walkthrough that's available 24/7, 365 for you to look at. The C&P, we also have very important live classes to actually, so you can actually listen to others that are going through the same process and also pick up little nuggets here and there. And to be honest with you, when I was coming through the program, I didn't miss one class because by doing that, I got to hear so many different coaches say little different nuggets that not only was I comfortable when I went to do any C&P exam, I knew what to expect. I knew what was coming up. I knew how this was going to work. So this is a very important part. And by getting involved with those classes and involved with other veterans that are going through the same thing, you're going to learn a lot. So next slide.
And so step 7 comes to the VA claim decision and review. Your veteran coach and the team will conduct an analysis of your claim decision and provide recommendations for next step. We ask that through this process, and this can be, I call it hurry up and wait. So we call it hurry up and wait sometimes, right? You can make sure you're checking va.gov, weekly after your submission. You can see if the disability rating has increased, and make sure you're communicating any check-ins with your coach team accordingly. Your claim is likely to be awarded right off the bat, but if not, right, don't forget, even if it's denied, we still continue coaching you through the process to ensure that you get the benefits you deserve. So I always say there's a plan for that, whatever that may be. If you put up a claim and it's effective, either you celebrate the victory in the end, and if not, we have step or homework to do, paperwork virtually or otherwise to be done, at least kind of direct you, beyond that step. And so definitely a big part of what we do. Sometimes those letters, most times those letters, if not all the time, can be very intimidating. The decision, you'll get the detailed decision letter with the seal on it where it has all the information and breakdown of what one might need. And so we try to break down that mental hurdle, take it down and make it bite-sized to keep fighting for what it is that we think you deserve in general terms. So.
Oh, I love that bite size. That's exactly what we do. That's a perfect way to explain it. All right, we're at the next step or the last step, and like what Dr. Mike was saying, sometimes it comes back and there's going to be something there that the VA is still looking for. But when they get to send you that letter, when you cut away all the stuff that's always there, what I call the smoke and mirror part that they have in there, inside the decision could be a little nugget that tells us what we exactly have to do here. And then sometimes it's like, no, I think you had a perfect claim. I think we need to let a senior rater look at this. So we recommend a higher level review. Or if inside there they say you're missing something inside that decision letter, then we go ahead and make sure that you can actually go get it. And we go ahead and add brand new medical evidence and do the supplemental part of it. So no matter what, your coach is always going to be, let's say, 1 or 2 steps above or 1 or 2 steps beyond, because we've been through this. We understand how that works. And a lot of us have actually been clients and actually understand how I got denied a couple of times. But it was so funny because I was actually going like, oh man, I'm so disappointed. But my coach had me going still, going like, it's okay. We already know what we're going to do. And that makes you feel good because you're by going through this process, it really gets to you, really eats away at you sometimes. But if you got a coach that's actually helping you with that and saying, it's okay, we already know where we're going, might as well just have fun and enjoy the ride. So,
Dr. T, I think the inner nerd in me can't help but to say this. Sometimes when people are looking or waiting for the letter, or you kind of go get the letter, you can predict or even see what it says based on the right line of questions. And so just that, and then to have the veteran learn how to break these things down and understand this through the process. The nerd meter in me was twitching just to say that, man.
No, that's perfect. I love it. The nerd meter. I'm sure I've got that too. So.
Oh yeah. So
because every once in a while something does twitch where I'm like, going, no, wait a second here. We got to really take a look at that. So. All right, next slide.
One of the tips that came, we say just kind of go over a few tips. Tip number 1, this is information from a rating veteran service representative at the VA with over 20 plus years of experience rating VA claims. So the sentiment was this. So Brian, hey, please tell your veterans to be very clear with the disability, the condition they are claiming, okay? Don't just put knee condition if the actual condition is knee joint osteoarthritis with limitation of range of motion. And that sounds, wordy. So basically what they're saying, the more descriptive you are, the faster that the veteran service representative or the VRVSR will be able to confirm your diagnosis, then look for a possible nexus or link connection, right? And then grant you a higher rating in a less time. It helps the examiner to understand what you're claiming. So if I could just kind of, knee pain, foot pain, versus, again, having an understanding, even if you're looking at your own records, they're calling it or diagnosing it, as something. So knee pain seems a lot less light or less effective, less direct than knee joint osteoarthritis with limitation of range of motion, right? And so just to that point. Next
All
slide.
right.
Oh, did you have a tip, Dr. John?
No, we're good. That was perfect. Tip number 2, RVSR with 15 plus years of experience rating VA claims also wrote to Brian and said this: please tell your veterans that less is more. Too much stuff slows down the VA rater and delays the claim. Make it easy for us. We're trying to help you. Describe the disability clearly in your personal statement. Show the medical diagnosis and how it is related to service or another service-connected disability. That's the Nexus part that we were talking about. That's exactly what that our process is there. So tell us in plain English, or what does it say? And stop uploading things after claim submission. It slows us down and can kick your claim back to earlier steps in the process, which is very, very good. We always talk about having everything in at one time, and everybody wants, every once in a while, there's somebody that says, oh, I got a buddy letter. I'd like to add that to the, that's not a good idea. Usually it's one of those things where like, no, you should have just done that at the beginning so we can get through this, but you can always use that buddy letter later if you need to. So this is actually really good tip, and especially from an RBSR that's going to tell us less is more, keep it to the point. Don't deviate too much there trying to describe something. And it's going to be easier for them to actually make a decision. So.
And I like to piggyback that off of that, king of piggybacking off of that. because again, these stories just pop into specifics, and there was one. He basically went from 0 to 80 on the health, but it took him a while. And the while, just kind of spoiler alert, was part of it. He submitted 100 pages. It was about like an even 100 pages of information. And he was actually going for 2 things, right? So what it did was it just prolonged his process, because instead of sifting through whatever, and they ended up denying him initially, right, to the room. And in the end, when we looked at the letter and helped him, kind of dissect what was going on, he repurposed 2 of those pages out of the 100 pages to show them very specifically, right, the connection or the thing that was absent, or, because the theory is that they looked at the 100 pages, but the reality was they missed these 2 important pages. Long and short, those same 2 pages might have won his claim at a shorter time, but that's kind of part of the process. Less is more sometimes. Less is best is the way I like to rhyme it, on some level, if it can relay or communicate the same information in that place. I always like to bring that point up.
No, that's perfect. I like it.
Next slide. And we have tip 3 with a RVSR with another 10 plus years of experience rating VA claims, mentioned to Brian. Private medical evidence to include medical evaluations and medical nexus letters, or the independent medical opinions from these private providers, are extremely helpful when trying to determine, 1, the medical diagnosis, so not so much knee pain, but maybe osteoarthritis with limitation of the knee. 2, the nexus, which is the link or the connection, if you will, for service connection. And then 3, the current severity of symptoms. That's an important one. How bad is it now, right? Because, referring back to something from 85 or Vietnam or even 5 years ago, you want to also incorporate what are the August 2022 symptoms like now? How does it limit you? So you being able to provide incredible and much needed service to veterans was the complement to that, and then a thank you on top of that. But those 3 things: the diagnosis, the nexus, and even the current symptoms, speak to not only the rating and connection initially, but how high or severity sometimes of the listed condition or the rated condition as well. Okay.
Right. Awesome.
Next slide.
All right. Now, there's when you become part of the organization, there's a number of ways to stay connected to us. You got the blog, as you can read here. You've also got Facebook.com VA Claims Insider, Facebook.com groups. We also have, as you probably already know, a huge YouTube channel that actually has a number of videos on all kinds of different subjects and all kinds of different strategies and stuff like that. We're also on Instagram, and you can see us on TikTok. Now, this is the one that you really want to pay attention to, though. This is Doc on the Road. This is where I do a podcast, and we can actually, you can actually get a little bit, a couple nuggets there, a little bit of history, all kinds of different things about veterans all over the country, because I travel and actually go looking for that. So make sure that you go on to this. Of course, I'm promoting this big. Make sure you go onto this and subscribe, because we're already way up there in numbers, and it's always great to actually see that and then get involved with that. Because while we're doing this, and the reason to stay connected, because we're actually building a community too. I think it's very important that veterans come together, and with the help of everybody that's here at VACI, we build that community to where you feel safe. You feel like I'm part of something, just like you did when you were in the military. And it's something that you can build with here, with a brotherhood, a sisterhood, and we try to address all that all the time. We have a number of different classes that actually do that. We have classes 3 times a day. We have one class that's really cool. It's called Coffee with the Coaches every morning. And I actually use it like a therapy session, because I can actually hear other veterans tell me what they're going through and how they may have curved it, or it may have redirected, negativity. And I can actually add into that myself and actually learn, as well as help other veterans. And again, it goes back to building that community, building that strength that we have together as this community builds. We also have classes on, as we were talking about a little while ago, CMP preps, how to do your submissions, and especially classes also on like HLR, sleep apnea, high value claim type things like that. We always have those on Saturday. I think it's every other Saturday. So if you need to, go ahead and reach out to us, join the group, and make sure you get a coach and really become a student and join in here. Let's go ahead and start taking questions as we go through this.
Do a Q&A. I wanted to point out a couple. I say, Steve Lawson and Coach Daryl McDonald, 20 to 90% win with that.
Nice.
Just in general, somebody said the company is amazing. I urge everyone to join. We appreciate that, Facebook user. Somebody mentioned veteran enrollment, how it helps to write down your story, reading over it, just in general terms. Steve Larson mentioned that the psych evaluation, he mentioned that he had a psych evaluation, and the independent medical opinion made him realize that he had lived for over 30 years, the way he lived for over 30 years, and that he's much better today as a result of just initially going for a telemedica medical opinion. Austin Williams went to 100%. Hey, veteran Williams.
That is awesome.
Yes, indeed. And then John Richard mentioned, I use VACI to help me, and it does work. I use their med team to get help with the Nexus. I'm 100% PNT now, thanks to VACI. Awesome. And so, we'll get into a question and answer, I guess, at this point, Q&A.
Yes. Hey, by the way, I want to point out somebody. There's somebody that's here in the class, Mr. Walter Gay. He just won a training, and we were just talking last night. Hey, that's awesome. Let's keep going though. Let's keep still in the ball game. He jumped right on the next claim, and we're rocking and rolling still. But Walter is kicking butt from Yorktown, Virginia, just down the street from me. There we go. But that's the important part to me. That's why I do this. Matter of fact, I was asked to be a coach and came on as a coach for a while, and then they asked me to be a senior coach. At that time, I had my practice still going, and I was like, going, you know what? I'm actually really enjoying this much more. Helping veterans, help them find those little nuggets, find out ways to get back in the game or just stay in the game. So I really love doing this. So I stopped the practice and went ahead and came here full time so I could actually help out veterans more, because I think it is an important thing. Our community has been beat up in the past, but a lot of that has been our own fault because we didn't jump on it and actually start talking about things. So now that we are doing that and the community is building, it's really cool to see how people from all walks of life, all areas of the country, can put differences aside and actually come together for one common thing, getting them what they deserve. And I really, it really hits me hard in the heart because I'm like going, oh my God, this is so awesome when I see this movement. And then I start seeing other guys, coming in like Dr. Mike and a number of other people that are actually really helping. It really warms my heart. And I really enjoy watching success and watching people actually go through these steps and learning out about themselves to where, all of us get a little bit older in life. It's cool to actually go back and actually kind of learn what those steps were all about and why we're going the way we're going. So then we have a brighter future. So I really enjoy doing this. And hopefully, Dr. Mike, hopefully you're the same way. I just really get fired up when I see somebody, even if it's 10%, I get fired up. I'm like, well, that's awesome, man. You're climbing the ladder.
So you're absolutely right, Dr. John, and we're going to answer a couple questions, but like the goosebumps, when somebody wins and you have a help in that process, for me, it's a physiological, uncontrollable response and reaction. You get a smile, you say, yeah, and it's a little because it's disability, right? But it's usually a validation of these same symptoms that they've already had anyway. And so usually I've also found what will happen is veterans, and I think we made the point a couple times, but tend to get a better grasp of their health care because you're tasked to do so. You're going to know it's osteoarthritis of your knee and not just something they said about the knee because you'll read it, right? You'll have that understanding. And so there was a question about, like, for example, a denial, twice denied with the for tinnitus, even with a Nexus letter. I guess part of the answer would be if you do have a coach, make sure you get with your coach to get real specific about what the nature of the decision letter or the denial read or stated, right? What's the rationale, so to speak? I guess does that sound right, Dr. John?
Oh yes, definitely. You want to stay in the fight and keep going.
Yeah. Stay in the fight and keep. Stay in the fight and keep going. I think is important. Just in general, but make sure it is you reason for that, and so no doubt.
There's an awesome right there, Roman Herrera. I know you know that name. 100% PNT guidance I received from Dr. Smith. That is awesome. And he still comes to the classes for coffee with the coaches. That's the cool part about building that community that I was talking about, is even after you've got 100% PNT, we have people come back all the time. And all that is building up the guys that have just got there or the ladies that have just got there, so we can actually say, hey, look, this is how it goes. This is how it works. And we are here to support you. I know I see a lot of these names that are coming through here. Eddie Peters, he's a Marine that we talk to almost on a daily basis. I know I was talking to him this morning during coffee with the coaches. So again, it's building the community and building that brother and sisterhood that we always had when we were in the military. Now it comes back to building now. So definitely, if you need help with your claim, you can get started for free today at VA Claims Insider /elite-membership/ I always hate doing all that, but you see it right there. So just go ahead and write that down and join. Now you can also, when you join, you can also say, hey, look, I'd like to work with Dr. Mike, the way he talks and all that. That's real cool. Go ahead and say that, and you can get with Dr. Mike. So Dr. Mike and myself were actually teammates. So it's actually kind of fun. So yeah, you can request either one of us and we're good. but definitely Doc on the Road. Make sure you watch that or listen to that podcast and start subscribing to that. So right now, everybody backstage is like going, okay, that's enough, John, about Doc on the Road. If you want to talk to one of our teammates, go ahead and schedule your free discovery call, and that's at vaclaims.help. And that can will get you hooked up with somebody that you'll learn a little bit more about it and actually how to go about the process of joining. This is again is a movement, and it's one of those things where like I said, it warms my heart because veterans are actually being helped here. We got veterans that are actually experiencing life-changing type of things that are going on because they're just finally coming out and saying, yes, I deserve this. And thank God to Brian Reese, our founder, for starting this movement and getting us going on this. It's so important for veterans to actually, do that and join together as a group and actually go through together, just like you did when you're in the military, together to get to that mission, the end of the mission. So,
no doubt. There was a question, I guess, from Gene Lee. He had a couple upgrades on knee and back, new claims for feet and ankles, and also upper extremities to work on. I only have a VA and TRICARE doctors, and not sure where to get started. Currently at 80%. So just in general, Veteran Gene, that's one of those things where kind of looking at the breakdown and specifics will help get coaching to help. Usually we'll see out of strategy sessions, getting signed up, but out of strategy session, once that information is kind of digested, you might go stage 1 or stage 2 or stage 3 if needed. And it's just based on where you're currently rated and things that you may have symptom-wise and how it's put together. So you don't want to put the cart before the horse, so to speak. So it's a loaded question, but starting, I guess, is the main thing, just in general. Anything to add there, Dr. T?
Well, in my opinion, you probably should start with the feet. No, I'm just saying that because of Dr. Mike here. But no, that's perfect. And man, you're currently at 80%. That means you're getting close to be knocking on the door there. So yeah, now's the time to get strategic about everything. You want to make sure that you get into a situation sort of like that strategy session I was talking about, so you can actually get your puzzles and you can actually start seeing what holes you need to fill and then go ahead and start attacking. So that's perfect. I also see something there for Clint Bradley. It's kind of what we do here is talk about that. If you're struggling, you're getting frustrated. I did the same thing. Struggling, frustrated, don't know where to go. Need a little bit of advice. I don't know why somebody would say no to tinnitus. That seems to be one of those ones. So where there might be something there. We probably have to take a look at the denial letters and just see what they say. And maybe we can figure out exactly what way to go down that path there. But definitely just tinnitus can also lead to other things that we can talk about too. Also, again, that goes back to the strategy where we're 2 steps ahead and knowing where we're going to make sure we get you where you deserve. So hang in there, Clint, okay? All right, I'm still looking for questions here.
Jerry Kimberlin had a question that I saw that mentioned in one of the steps. It says in the fine print that Telemedica, which is the network of medical professionals, providers, states no insurance accepted, right? But it refers to a couple types, FSA, flexible spending account, and then health savings account, health plan savings account, or something of that nature. So not insurance per se, but there's some nuance to flexible spending out, or these prepaid or kind of takeout things that maybe can be used. So I hope that clarified the initials.
Now, the cool part about Telemedica is some of those guys and ladies over there are also vets. Some of these doctors are. So they know what the process is. And some of them already know exactly how things have to be worded. Sort of like what we were talking about earlier with the osteoarthritis. Sometimes things have to be worded a certain way for the VA to wake up and realize, okay, this sounds right. So, but Telemedica, they actually have these professionals. That's all they do is talk to veterans and also write letters to help the VA make the connection for you. So definitely, as you can see, there's the website there, www.telemedica.com. And they will actually, as a partner, this is the way I look at it. I've used them, and it worked out great. So it's one of those things where I know that these individuals over there, those professionals over there, they have all kinds of training, and they really train hard on different particular things that actually affect veterans. So they've got a little bit more insight than, say, Dr. Mike or myself, because that's what they do every day. And sometimes it's really interesting to see some of the things that they come up with and actually are able to help veterans out to make the connections. All right. Well, we got about 4 minutes left. I'm sorry, my head's going all over the place because I'm trying to read and make sure that we get everybody that we can. Let's see.
There was some information or question about the PAC bill, herbicide and things like that. And
right.
We just got some information. Just kind of going over just as coaches and the idea of expanding the healthcare for specific categories of toxic exposed veterans and veterans supporting certain overseas contingency operations in general. There's some expanded presumption of specific toxic exposures for members who served in specific areas: Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar. That's not all. Saudi Arabia, but just informationally, especially as you talk to your coach, if it applies to you in some shape, form, or fashion, adding 23 respiratory illnesses and cancers related to the burn pits, airborne exposures, and exposures to VA list of service presumption, does come into play as well, just in general terms. And so it's going to be expanded upon and kind of growing in question, I assume, over the next few weeks, especially coaching wise.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the one thing I really also like about VA Claims Insider. We have a bunch of people behind the scenes that are actually figuring all this stuff out as it comes in. So as soon as everything is, say, passed or signed, I know there's supposed to be a big signing of that today. We know exactly how to go ahead and attack that, or how to utilize that to move you forward. And we did that with the presumptives that came out all over the place. And it's just one of those things where we just seem to be getting information in right at the time we need to. So that's perfect. And I saw something there, Diana Mills. I no longer trust the VA. I wanted to address that real quick. I can actually understand you. I really do. I had a hard time with it before, but now I want you to think of something else, though. You're joining this program, and you're joining a fire team, basically, that's going to go back and go after what you deserve. You've got somebody that's going to actually put their hand on your shoulder and say, let's go this way. Let's go ahead and this way. Let's go ahead and do this. That's what you're going to get here. And sooner or later, it's not whether you trust the VA or not, it's whether you trust yourself and trust the ones around you to get you where you need to be. You'll see that melt away. I know when I became 100% PNT because of a coach that I had here, and by doing that, working with them, that trust kind of melted away, because I started learning that I could trust my team. I can trust the people that got me to where I need to be. So I feel you, Diana, and I was in the same spot, but definitely join. Definitely get with a coach, and let's go ahead and attack them with the fire team, and go ahead and get you what you deserve.
Awesome. Definitely appreciate y'all joining us just today. It made it special. Always good to rock with you, Dr. John.
Oh, definitely, always good to rock with you. Like I said, we're awesome teammates. And hopefully you guys will sign up with Dr. Mike or myself, and we're going to get you rocking and rolling. I hope you guys had a great time. I know that was a lot of information to take in, but that's okay. That's what this whole process is about, the education part of it. So,
and Steve and whoever, everybody else was asking it. Apparently the PAC Act passed, and we're going to be posting some articles about those as soon as it kind of continues to roll out. So literally live, local, and late breaking as we speak.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because we were talking about it late last night about some of the stuff that's in there. So yeah, get ready. It's coming. So, hey, thank you, Walter, man. I'm really proud of you. Again, proud of you for your win, and proud that you're staying in the ball game to go ahead and keep moving. So I hope everybody has a great day. Remember, we're building a community. Come on in, come and join us. That way you can actually be part of this group. So you guys have a great one, and look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks, Dr. Mike.
Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you, everybody.